On today's episode, we're diving deep with a listener who has been a 3-time almost bride who has left the altar because she wasn't sure it was the right person. She's navigating this intense pressure of her age while consistently making it to the finish line with partners who ultimately are not right for her. The diamond was nearly in sight, but something kept stopping the proposal, or perhaps deep down she knew that these were not her forever matches. So how do we approach dating differently when we know we're ready for marriage? And how do we know we found the one without the feeling of settling? Welcome to 1-800 Bridesmaid, a podcast where real-life drama meets unfiltered advice. I'm Jen Glantz, the founder of Bridesmaid for Hire and the author of Finally the Bride. Every episode, a new caller will share their honest and raw dilemma on friendship, love, weddings, and so much more. An expert and I will give advice, and you can chime in too with what you think they should do. Will they listen? Well, we'll soon find out. And P.S., 1-800 Bridesmaid is a Love Stories by David's podcast. This episode is brought to you by Honey Fund, the perfect way for couples to receive cash gifts for their wedding, honeymoon, or any other savings goal. Whether it's an unforgettable trip or a big life milestone, Honey Fund makes it easy for guests to give the gift of experience. Head over to honeyfund.com and start your fee-free registry today. Joining me today is Ilana Dunn, the host of the podcast Seeing Other People and a recent newlywed. Welcome to the show, Ilana.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't know, are you a recent newlywed? It's almost been a year,
It's
right?
almost been a year. I think recent in the first year. I mean, it's really weird that it's almost been a year. We're planning our anniversary trip. I told him I wanted to go on an anniversary trip.
Yeah.
And it's weird that it's so close.
No, it's literally 2-3 months away.
Yeah.
It's wild. Okay,
how did that happen?
What was the first year of marriage like for you, honestly?
Really great. Honestly, not much was different. I just wasn't planning a wedding, so I think I was a much better human.
Yeah. Was wedding planning
Terrible.
taxing?
Horrible.
Why though?
The way I described it to my friends who had never gone through it is it's like suddenly you're promoted to this position where you have no experience and your coworkers they're not bad people. They're just probably the worst people for you to be working on a group project with, aka your family.
Yes.
And suddenly you're working with this budget that is a number that's a lot of money.
Yes.
And everything feels high stakes. Everyone has different opinions. You, as the leader of this project, want to make everyone happy, but that's not possible.
No, it's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
But also the happiest day of your life kind of thing.
And you know what? All of the stress was worth it.
Yeah.
People told me over and over, don't sweat the small stuff. Don't stress over the details. But to me, the details and the little things, that's what mattered. And that's what made mine and Jake's wedding, our wedding.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I did spend way too long on the custom cocktail napkins and the little details of the matchbooks and, little things. But the little things are where I felt like we could put us into it. And so I did stress over those, but I was glad I did.
And people do notice them. I feel like people do when they're floating around a wedding, they see all the things that everyone else has. But when they see things that nobody else has or that are different to you, they kind of appreciate it because it shows that you really cared about the wedding experience. And some people, I feel don't go that extra step anymore.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
I was at a wedding this past weekend and the seating cards with everyone's names on them had a little flower attached to it. And we were all sitting at our table and we were the bride's name is Tosh. And we were do we think Tosh did these on her own? We're no, that's so much work.
Yeah.
And during one of the parent speeches, they called out how she focused on every single detail, including this week getting the flowers on the cards. And we're wow. Again, we all noticed it and admired it and appreciated it.
I do love that stuff because I do think it shows that a person cares about not only the wedding, but about the excitement of the marriage. Yeah. And I feel okay, you've been in the dating world for a while. When you were dating and you met Jake, were you ready for marriage? Were you dating looking for a partner? What was your mindset when you went on that first date with him?
I knew I wanted to, quote unquote, find my person. I was never somebody who wanted to casually date. I was never good at that. I think my whole dating journey, I wanted to find my person, but for the first many years of it, I myself wasn't actually ready for it. And so I kept ending up in these toxic and unhealthy situationships and these relationships that didn't really have a foundation to stand on. When I look back, there was no way the people that I was dating could have ended up, we could have ended up building a life together because I wasn't ready. I didn't know myself enough. I didn't like myself enough. I didn't really know what I was looking for. So I just wanted, anyone I liked to like me back.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really looking for the right type of person I could actually build a life and, start a family one day with. And so I think COVID changed a lot for me, where I was forced to spend a lot of time on my own and in my own company and enjoying, doing things by myself. And after COVID or, mid-COVID was when I met Jake, and I was less focused on like, does he like me versus like, oh, like actually this feels really good. And like, I don't feel anxious and I like this guy.
But you said like you were looking for your person. Did you know what you wanted in that person? Did you know what kind of person it was, or did you know the feelings you wanted to feel?
I knew what I didn't want to feel because I had felt that so many times before.
What did you not want?
I didn't want to feel anxious. I didn't want to feel like I never knew where I stood with this person. I didn't want to feel like I was insecure in the relationship. I wanted to know where I stand with them. I wanted to feel like I could be myself. I think back, and a lot of the people I dated, they were just like people who I had a crush on and felt like they were so out of reach. Like I could never get them to like me. So it was like a challenge.
Yes.
Like I needed to win them over. And that's not to say like I settled for Jake. Like Jake's incredible and I'm so lucky to be with him. But we met each other where we were at. Like we both liked each other and both wanted to be with each other and both share a lot of the same values. And so it was more of like we're both here to build this thing together versus like, this is somebody that for whatever reason, I feel like I need to win over.
I know. I was thinking about like old relationships, and I have loved many people in the past, but there was a time where if someone said, I'm giving you $1 million right now, tell me the truth. Like, do you want to spend the rest of your life with this person? I knew deep down that they were not the right people. Mm-hmm. However, obviously I stayed for like an extremely long toxic time until it burnt out. If a person knows that deep, deep down, if they trust their gut and they know that they're with the wrong person, mm-hmm. what would you tell them to do?
I think there's a lot of pressure from society, from social media, from familial expectations to, meet somebody, get married, settle down, and start a family. And so when you've already spent months or years with this person and you feel like you're close to that, it feels like you're giving up so much to walk away.
So much.
Even if you're not, like, things could be fine, it's like nothing's really wrong, but it's not really right either. You might feel like you can't fully be yourself, or you're walking on eggshells sometimes, or you don't agree on, core values. And at the same time, it's like, well, but it's fine. We're like happy.
Yeah. We
like each other. It's not worth compromising on what you want. Like the person you marry, that is the most important decision you will ever make in your life.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's terrifying because you hope that it lasts forever. Mm-hmm. I hope my marriage lasts forever. But you also don't want to enter into a marriage when things are so rocky, or you haven't had serious conversations, or you feel the word just fine in the relationship, right? What advice do you have for a person who is terrified of starting over?
Would you rather be with the wrong person or wait to find the right person?
I know. I remember when I was single for so long, and I honestly thought right before I met Adam, this was going to be the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. But that's also really not true, because hopefully the rest of your life is a really long time. Yep. And hopefully if you want it, and not everyone wants to find love, but if you want to find love, like you will, and you will put yourself out there. When you were dating Jake and eventually got engaged, what was the moment where you knew, okay, like this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with?
I get asked this a lot. I don't think there was one moment where I just knew I wanted to be with him. I think it was a combination of it felt right and it made sense.
Yeah.
I felt so comfortable with him. He was quickly my best friend and the person that I could be my weirdest self with, my like grossest, sickest self with, my happiest, most fun self with. And the more we got to know each other, the more it became clear that, we had the same goals for our future. We wanted the same things. And so it's not like the most romantic thing. There wasn't one thing he said to me or one thing he did that just made me say, this is the man I want to spend my life with. But it felt right. And I never once questioned it. In my entire relationship, I've never doubted, is this the person that's right for me? Is this the person I want to be with? Is this the person I want to go to when everything falls apart in my life and I need to be held and picked back up? Like, I never for a second questioned that. And in so many situations in the past, it was always like, will they judge me? What would they think? Like, am I going to mess everything up if I share this thing? And that always felt so scary. And so not feeling that, not questioning that, it just reassured me the whole time. Like, yeah, of course, this is who I want to spend my life with.
When do you think is the right time to bring up some of these topics with the person? Do you front load it on the first couple dates and say, look, I'm a person who is this, this, and this. This is my personality. These are my flaws. I want to get married. I want 5 kids. What about you? Or do you slow play it and show your true colors, your wants, your values over time? Because I know there's some people who are like, I've been dating forever. I don't want to waste my time.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go through 8 dates without them realizing, like, here's my crazy, here's what I want.
I think it's a mix. I actually really liked to talk about, both the past and the future on dates. And I think a really great way to bring up what you want out of life on the first or second or third date is to talk about your childhood. Talk about the way you grew up, ask about their siblings, how many siblings they had, if they liked that. And you can mention, I think me and Jake both mentioned, like, we both had 2 siblings and we both really liked that we were a family of 3 kids and we wanted 3 kids in the future. We talked about the places we grew up and like where we'd want to live down the line versus, we wouldn't want to raise a family in the city. And that's not saying we're going to raise a family together.
Yeah.
It's a first date. We don't know each other yet, but it's just sharing what we want in life. Otherwise, you're completely wasting your time. If you might get to the 8th date and then find out this person doesn't want kids and you really want 4 kids, you both just wasted your time.
But what about the people who are like, and this happens so much. I have so many friends in these situations too. They're like, he doesn't want kids, but I feel like he's going to change his mind. So I'm going to marry him.
No.
I know so many people.
No, you're breaking your own heart.
But I know so many people, and I'm not judging them, who married people who said, I know they didn't want this.
No.
But do people change?
Maybe. People can change. People have the capacity to change, but you can't force them to change. They have to change because they want to.
Yeah. I know it's a tough thing because you're like, I love this person, everything is great, but fundamentally we have these strong differences. You are really risking everything to get into a marriage with them. You're like you said, you're going to break your own heart because if they don't change and you wanted those 3 kids, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And I see that a lot. I see a lot in what I do. People not having tough conversations before they get married, whether it's finances or they just hide so much. Do you think people can keep secrets in relationships, should keep secrets, or should you share everything?
I think you should share most things. There are definitely things where, like, I can never keep a secret about myself.
Yeah.
Like, I am the worst secret keeper about me. If one of my best friends tells me a secret and is like, please don't tell anyone, I don't need to tell Jake that.
Yeah.
That's not his business. Unless it's like, I really want to tell him. But usually if it's like something that's really close to a friend's heart, like, that's a secret I can keep from my husband. If I am stressed about my finances or, I've heard of people getting laid off from work and like lying to their partners about it and pretending they're going to work every day. Like, that is so stupid.
Yeah.
And I understand the fear. I understand you don't want to let your partner down until maybe you find another job, but like, your partner's there to support you. How would you feel if you found out they were keeping the secret from you? You have to be with somebody where you're not afraid to tell them the hard stuff. And that doesn't mean those hard conversations are going to be easy, but you're telling it to the person who you chose to be with because you can work through these things together.
The craziest thing that I always mention is I know couples who got married and they still, you might be like, that's okay. They still don't go to the bathroom in front of each other. Like, they don't talk about pooping. They don't do like bodily like things like that. That's like kind of weird, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe you want to like keep the mystery out, but like
it's so funny because I know people on every end of the spectrum. Like, I know people who like poop with each other in the bathroom.
I just want validation that like it's okay that I poop in front of Adam.
Exactly. If that works for you, great. Yeah. Like, I know people who poop in front of their partners. I personally don't. Like, just for my own
so
sake.
Interesting.
Like, I would like. I'll pee with the door open, but like if I have to poop, like I'm gonna close the door.
Okay,
I mean, like, he knows that I'm pooping, he can smell it, and vice versa. But I also have friends who like still have like pee and poop anxiety and like they don't say what they have to do. They're just like, I need to go to the bathroom.
It's just so interesting to me. But I do think there's like parts of us that we're like willing to go all in on with our partner and things that we want to keep a mystery. Maybe I'm in the wrong for like being too open because it's definitely like ruins the sexiness of like everything.
No, but it works for you and that's great.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't,
that's like my big thing. I'm always like, do you poop in front of your partner? Like, tell me more. Okay, before we talk about the caller, I always like to share a secret so that we're vulnerable before we listen to somebody's most vulnerable moment. So I'll go first. My secret this week is a little saddish, but when we talk about divorce, it is true that 42% of people get divorced. Whenever I'm in a group of people who are married, I always look around and think about, okay, like who here is going to be the first one to get divorced? And when I can't put my finger on it, I'm like, oh my God, is it going to be me? Like somebody here statistically will get divorced. And then I'm like, oh my God, is it me? And I always say like, I'm very happy with Adam. I don't ever see us getting divorced, but like you start to think about that, right? Yeah. And it always makes me just question how you can be in such a happy relationship, a great marriage, but something could happen in life that you can't plan for. And it freaks me out. So
no, I'm right there with you. I mean, we've gone to so many weddings in the last few years, and it's so weird thinking about like the reality is not all of these people are going to end up together forever. We will likely go to somebody's second wedding.
Isn't that, I mean, you hope obviously for the best.
Right, of course.
But it's true.
Yeah.
But then are you ever like, well, maybe it could be me? Like, I don't know. It's just like scary.
No, totally.
It's scary.
Yeah. But then that's where you need to feel the security of like the person that you chose to be with. Like you don't second guess that.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, maybe it will be me, but I can't see that happening because of how strong we are and how much this fits.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, maybe it's a statistic and it's about other people, not this group of people. Like maybe everyone here will be together forever. But it's just interesting. Yeah. When you go to a lot of weddings, you do think, okay, somebody here at one of these weddings secretly is not happy or they're going to get married again. So, okay, that's my secret. I'll let you go.
Okay. There were a lot of directions I could go with this, but I am going to follow your lead and share something like on the more vulnerable side of I, in past relationships, was cheated on and treated very poorly. And I started to feel in those relationships like if that person wasn't responding to me, like they were out with friends or whatever on like a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night, and they weren't responding to me, that's when I'd be like, they're definitely out with another girl.
For sure.
And of course they were like, Ilana, you're crazy. I'm not. I'm with the boys. Like, and then of course later, lo and behold, they were out with another girl every time. And I 1,000,000% trust Jake. Like no doubt in my mind, but sometimes when he's out with friends and I don't hear from him because he's not looking at his phone, I get this feeling of anxiety still of like from my past, like what if? It's like this PTSD. And I'm like, no, I know he's not, but I can't kick that voice in my head of like, well, it happened in the past. And then I'm like, no, I know for a fact this would never happen in the relationship that I'm in now. But I was just burned so badly in the past. And Jake knows I'm like, well, like, I don't care. Like, go out with your friends. Like, of course you should. But just like, check in with me. Yeah. Because otherwise I get anxious.
How do you not take this out on him and get mad?
Because he's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
He should be out with his friends. He should be not looking at his phone.
Yeah.
It's a me thing. It's fully a me thing. He's given me no reason ever in our relationship to not trust him whatsoever. And I know, and I have to talk myself out of it because I know that I'm in a relationship with a partner that I trust. And I know this is just my past.
No, I honestly respect you for saying that because sometimes, especially when someone in a past relationship has called you crazy for a behavior, but then proved you right and did that behavior, you go crazy. Like, how could you not go crazy? And how can you not bring that into another relationship? Yeah. Like, it's really hard. I mean, I fully trust Adam, but I have had moments where I'm like, what if? Like, we follow each other on shared locations. Yeah. But one day his just happened to not work. And I'm like, well, where are you? It was like 8 a.m. I'm like, well, what is he doing? I'm like, maybe he's not running, like whatever it was. And I like lost it on him for a second. He's like, what is going on? And I was like, I don't know, like what came over me. But like you do have, I think it is normal to have moments, whether it's from previous relationships or you just have
fear.
thoughts. Yes, fear of like, Is everything going well? Is everything going to crash?
I mean, I even remember being a kid and my parents would go out to dinner and I'd be like home alone and they'd be taking a really long time to come back. And I would just be staring at the driveway from my bedroom window being like, drive up. Okay, in 5 seconds, they're going to drive up. Okay, I'm going to count to 30 and then they're going to drive up. Because like I didn't know where they were.
Yeah. No, and you probably carry some of that into relationships.
Totally.
And then when you got cheated on, like it's like a whole like spiral. That's why I think be patient with your partners if they're exhibiting these types of behaviors. Like Adam, he's very patient with me. I'll admit it. I'll be like, I just lost my mind for a second. Like, I'm sorry. You know, I don't know what it came from, but like these things happen and they're going to happen. And sometimes you cause drama in your relationships just because of things that you've dealt with in the past.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Honey Fund, the perfect way for couples to receive cash gifts for their wedding, honeymoon, or any other savings goal. Whether it's an unforgettable trip or a big life milestone, Honey Fund makes it easy for guests to give the gift of experience. Head over to honeyfund.com and start your fee-free registry today. Okay, I want to get to this week's caller. We talked a little bit about it, but I will read this question. Hi, Jen. I'm Maddie from Boston. I just turned 37. My friends call me the almost fiance because over the past 6 years, I had 3 serious relationships following the same pattern. We dated for about 18 months, talked about marriage extensively, looked at rings, and planned our future. My recent ex, Jake, even had me try on his grandmother's ring that had been sized for me. But 2 weeks later, at what I thought was our engagement dinner, he said he couldn't see a future with me. A year later, he proposed to the coworker. The worst part is I knew these men weren't right for me. I ignored red flags each time: a drinking problem, controlling behavior, disagreements about wanting kids. At 37, I feel the pressure. My doctor used the term geriatric pregnancy at my last checkup. My sister just had her 3rd child. My parents are sending me egg freezing clinic links. I'm terrified of wasting my prime years. I find myself thinking maybe I should have just compromised more and looked at the first dates and thought, okay, who could I get married to within 6 months? How do I break this cycle without feeling like my time is running out? Am I chasing marriage more than the right person? Please help. Geriatric pregnancy is, I just want to explain this. When you're 35, they tell you that anytime after 35, you're geriatric, and it's the most depressing thing to hear. It's crazy.
My mom didn't start having kids until after 35 and she had 3.
No, and I live in Brooklyn and literally I have one kid. Every mom friend I have, no joke, had their first kid in their 40s. Like and I know it's hard. I know all these things, but like the term geriatric is enough to just like really beat you down.
Mind,
yeah. Okay, back to the question.
Maddie, we got you, girl.
What should she do?
Okay. I will say, first of all, like I'm glad it didn't work out with these people.
Yeah.
And that's a tough pill to swallow, but these were not the right people for you. And if you're already able to see in hindsight, like the problems that you would have had to compromise on and the things that weren't working that you would have had to just, brush under the rug, these were not the right people. And that's why it didn't work out. And that's okay. And I understand the feeling of wanting something so badly. I have talked to so many women who have found love in their late 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, and without fail, every single one of them is so grateful that it happened when it did and that they didn't end up with one of the people in their early 30s, in their 20s that they could have ended up with, because they're so much happier. They fully know who they are and what their values are and what they're not willing to compromise on, and they found the right match for them.
When you've always had wrongs, like the wrong guy, how do you know that a person is right without also putting pressure on them being perfect? Because I want to be honest, like there is no perfect love. There's problems, there's challenges, there's things. So like if you've only had wrongs and you're looking for right, how do you know that that's right without also overthinking everything?
I think take a step back. Like we put so much pressure. We listen to so much bad advice out there. Like we are inundated with what to do and what not to do, and these red flags and these green flags and these beige flags and all this bullshit. There's so much noise out there. Take a step back. It's not that deep. On one hand, it is because, it's a big thing, but it's also like, just look for the person that can be your best friend, that you want to spend your time with, that you can solve problems with, that you can laugh with and you can cry to.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the person you feel so comfortable with. And think about your actual best friends. You know, you didn't go on a first meeting, hang out with them and decide, I'm going to be with this person forever.
So
no,
true.
like you didn't decide this is my new best friend for life. You just spent time with them and got to know them. And the more you were with them, the more you felt comfortable with them, the more you felt safe, the more you had fun with them, the more you helped each other through different things you were going through. And over time, they became your best friend.
Yeah. I think I was in a weird situation where I met Adam 3 months after meeting Adam. Literally, like, something horrible happened to me. Like, the worst thing in the world happened to me and my family. And I said to him, I'm like, look, my life's about to drastically change. Here's the door. I love you. It was great getting to know you over 3 months. But if you were to leave now, completely respect it. Because what's about to happen is going to be kind of rough.
Yeah.
He stayed. And not only did he stay, but he supported me. And, since then, obviously, we've been together 1,000 years. Lots of things have happened. Going through postpartum, having a baby, recently was really sick, and he showed up and he supported. And it made me think to myself, like, when you're dating, you're looking for somebody who's a lot of things, but also I think you need someone who's going to have your back on those really horrific times in your life, because no matter how great your life is, you're going to go through a lot of really, really lows. And if that person who lives with you and shares your life with you can't be there for you, that's really, really tough, because sometimes you can't be there for yourself, right? You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I didn't know that dating. I never in my million years thought I should date someone who's going to support me,
No, never. What a concept.
Right.
That never crossed my mind.
No, I'm like, I should date someone who's funny, has a personality, but you don't think about it like that. And I think wrong versus right, it's also okay, who has your back when you're not Miss America, top of your game, when you're really going through it, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's important. In this situation too, she's 37. She feels that age pressure. I know you said people find love at all ages. What can she do dating wise, especially in 2025, to put herself in a position to meet more people?
Totally. Well, first and foremost, I actually do, and I know it's annoying that your parents are sending this, but freeze your eggs.
Yeah.
Everyone I've spoken to who has frozen their eggs has said it has just taken pressure off and been a security blanket.
Totally.
That's not to say snap your fingers, freeze your eggs. I know it's very financially difficult. I know it's emotionally draining. I know it's physically draining. I know it's not just I'll just freeze my eggs on a Tuesday.
No.
But if you have the means to, I think it absolutely will help you in the long run. Get out there. Look for, opportunities to meet people. Don't just rely on dating apps. Really put yourself out there and challenge yourself. Every time you go somewhere, whether you're going to someone else's wedding or an engagement party or an event of some sort, challenge yourself and say, I'm not going to leave until I talk to 3 men that I don't know. And that could just be giving them a compliment. That could be, asking them what they're drinking or how they know the bride, groom, whoever, whatever type of event you're at, but just putting yourself in the position to actually meet people. Sign up for a speed dating event if you've never been to one. Go to a singles event. Put yourself out there in the most ways that you can, but also show up and really lean in.
Yeah, I think it's really hard because, you might think too at 37, I would think, okay, are there any single people left?
There are.
Yeah, what would you say to that?
There absolutely are. I know that there are. I know so many, and everyone is well, where am I going to find anyone my age? I'm currently talking to a 41-year-old great guy who is so afraid that there are no single women left who want kids.
Yeah.
And I'm there are. There are. I know that there are. And I know, especially at that age, you probably feel like you're surrounded by couples, but there are other people out there. There are also events for people in their 30s, for people in their 40s, for people in their 50s. You just have to look for them.
Yeah, I think it's tough because people go through their friend groups and everyone else is getting married and having kids, and then you're the single person. Yeah. So how do you show up to these things alone? How do you go through the door and say I'm here alone, especially if you're not an outgoing person?
That's the best way to go.
What do you do?
You go up to someone and say, I'm kind of nervous right now. I've never done this before. I see when people go to these events and things with friends, they don't meet people because they have their comfort zone. You actually like have to force yourself out of your comfort zone in order to find what you're looking for.
I know, it's so hard. I feel like when I was single, I'd go to events with my friends. We'd stand in the corner, look at the guys. We would do nothing. We would leave, obviously still single. But I know, like, going to these events is so scary solo, but it also makes you more attractive in the sense that people are going to want to come over to you if you don't have like your best friend making eyes at everybody for you.
And put your phone away. Don't walk in holding your phone. It immediately makes you unapproachable.
So what do you hold? Because I know hands are awkward.
Hold a drink. Hold a purse. Even if you're not drinking, go get a seltzer. Like just something to hold. And know that everyone who's there is also feeling exactly the same way you are. Like it took a lot of courage and strength for them to go. They're likely there alone. They likely feel pretty hopeless, but they're going there because they're looking for somebody. They're looking to find that person. And you can actually find a lot of comfort in knowing that you all put yourselves out there in this uncomfortable position to meet someone.
I know you're married, but you're still very connected to the dating world, and you do a lot of dating events and you're in the dating podcast world. What are the trends these days? I find that there's like so many real life in-person events happening. Like what are the new trends in dating?
People have so much swipe fatigue. They really do want to meet someone in person, but they don't know how. Because we're so used to relying on our phones. And so I think a lot of the people in the dating space are trying to get really creative. I mean, there are like run clubs that have dating mixers afterwards. I'm hosting a workout class that has a mixer afterwards because I've talked to so many people who love fitness and they're like, I'm always at the gym or in a workout class and I see this person week after week that I want to talk to, but I don't know if they're single, I really want to be with somebody who's also really into fitness, but I don't know how to find these people. And so I'm like, okay, taking note. All right, I'm going to have a fitness related a singles event. It's people want to not waste their time. People want to meet people in real life and bypass that, okay, we're matching. Okay, now we have to spend 2 weeks like crafting the perfect message to then get on a date to then see if we vibe at all. People just want to, like have that vibe check and know, is this person worth pursuing?
I know this person might also feel like she has a bit of a nickname, whether it's the almost fiance or the single person in her friend group. How did you not let that define you or push you down, especially if everyone's like, oh, this person always single, always dating? Because I know that can really ruin your confidence.
Yeah. First of all, if it's something that really does upset you, tell your friends.
Yeah.
Your friends don't want to upset you, if they knew that them playfully calling you this thing was hurting you, then you should express that and they should stop if they're good friends. I think being the only single person in the friend group is really hard. The best thing you can do is find another single friend to commiserate with, to talk to vent to go to things with, to go out with, and just, wing woman each other. But I think it's remembering that there is so much good in your life and your relationship status is actually the least interesting thing about you.
I agree with you. I know it's coming from two married people, but like I also felt like when I got married, people celebrated that more than they celebrated any other accomplishment in my life. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. It's obviously fun, but like it's just one part of my identity is that I'm married. I'm also like all these other great things that no one really cares as much about, So I think if you're leading with your relationship status, tap into more of your identity, tap into more of the things that make you you.
When I was single, all I wanted was to be in a relationship. And I had an amazing job. I had incredible friends. I had a dream apartment. I had so much going for me. The only thing I could focus on was that I wanted a boyfriend and I didn't have one. So I told myself every day that I sucked. That I had nothing going for me. I defined myself by the fact that I was single. Nobody else was looking at me saying, that's Ilana, she's single, so she sucks. People were saying, that's Ilana, she has this awesome job, or oh my God, like you need to see Ilana's apartment, or Ilana has all these friends from different walks of life. It's so cool how she brings everyone together. Nobody was talking about the fact that I was single except for me.
Wow. And you felt so bad about it
So bad. And I wasted so many amazing years of my life just feeling so down and judging myself when nobody else was judging me for that. And at the end of the day, yes, even if you're older and all of your friends are married and you are the only single one, Your friends want you to be happy.
Yeah.
They're not friends with you because you're single and, they can hear about your dating and relationship failures. They're friends with you because they see so much value in you. They see so much love in you. They benefit from your friendship because you have so much love to give and because you're funny and because you're adventurous and spontaneous and whatever, all the other amazing things that you are. And so remember that even if like it comes up that you're single or it comes up that you're going on dates, that's just because that's something that's happening in your life. It's not because that's how your friends look at you.
I love that. I think, understanding your identity and not attaching it to your relationship status and not thinking everyone is thinking about your relationship
Nobody
status.
is.
It's so true.
Nobody is.
No, nobody is as much as you are. Before we go, I want to ask you, in today's day and age, people are trying to stand out on dating apps. What is the number one way that you think people can stand out on them?
Oh my God. Actually put stuff in your profile that matters to you.
It's so easy, but people don't.
Defines you.
Yeah. Like what's an example?
Stop trying to be cool. Like stop putting like little cliche things that sound flirty or cool. Jake and I probably would not be married today if I didn't fully put myself into my profile.
What did you say on your profile?
I had a prompt that says, I won't shut up about. And it was my dog Zoe, Sugarfish, the Jonas Brothers, and whatever song I'm listening to on Spotify on repeat. He messaged me saying, I also love the Jonas Brothers.
Oh my God. And that's like a huge part of your relationship.
Huge part of our relationship. Yeah. Putting the Jonas Brothers in my profile wasn't cool. That didn't make me like a cool girl, but that was such a core part of me.
Yeah.
And it stood out to the right person. People are afraid to actually put details about themselves because they want to, attract everyone.
Yes.
But that's not true.
Yes.
You want to attract the right people and deter the wrong people. Put your personality in your profile, write things about you that make you stand out. That is how you're going to get one step closer to finding the right person.
It's true, because I'm sure people want to message you, but they don't always know what to say.
Totally.
So if you have these specific things, they can make conversation with you. It's funny, Adam's dating profile was awful. I was just like going through them and I just said yes, but he said like, I like seltzer and bagels. And meanwhile, this guy has like such a vibrant personality. Yeah. I'm thrilled he didn't do that because he would have gotten so many matches. But I was like, if I judged you based on your profile, there's like a big chance we would not be together because like you like bagels and seltzer. Like who are you?
Have to like be more specific.
Yeah, like what flavor bagel? Like
exactly.
What kind of seltzer?
Or like what's your bagel store that you go to every Saturday?
Anything.
Like you have to Sunday. You have to get specific and you have to be really real about the things that are in your life.
I love that. Okay, where can people find out more about you?
Oh my God, I don't want this to end.
I know.
Oh wait. The last thing I wanted to say to this listener, because I was thinking about this on my way over. Take the pressure of the wedding out of it, the engagement and the wedding. That is probably weighing on you, on your heart, on your shoulders, on your head so heavily. And a wedding is one day of your life. An engagement is just, this kind of like fake
time
mask of commitment.
Yeah.
Because someone can break off an engagement. You can get married and get divorced.
Yeah.
Forget about the wedding, forget about the engagement, focus on finding the person you want to be with, who like you said, like will support you, will comfort you, will show up for you, who you want to support, who you want to comfort. We put so much pressure and emphasis on the ring and the wedding that we can lose sight of what's really important.
It's so true. We can rush to this quote unquote finish line, but when you get there, you're like, who am I there with?
Right. And you went to the wrong finish line.
Yeah. And you're like, I got here. I got that part that I wanted, but who is this person? And that's something that you want to try to avoid because it can really
it's so
hurt
much
you.
harder to leave too.
So much harder to leave. And it breaks your heart a lot more.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I love this. Where can people find out more about you? Be your friend.
You can listen to my podcast, Seeing Other People, wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me on Instagram at Seeing Other People or on TikTok at Ilana Dunn.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ilana.
Thank you.
Yay. This episode is brought to you by Honey Fund, the perfect way for couples to receive cash gifts for their wedding, honeymoon, or any other savings goal. Whether it's an unforgettable trip or a big life milestone, Honey Fund makes it easy for guests to give the gift of experience. Head over to honeyfund.com and start your fee-free registry today. Thank you for listening to 1-800-Bridesmaid, and I hope this caller's story gave you something to think about. Have a wedding dilemma or relationship question? Submit your story on 1-800-Bridesmaid.com. Find more 1-800-Bridesmaid episodes wherever you get your podcasts and watch the full episodes on YouTube. For behind-the-scenes content and daily advice, Follow Bridesmaid for Hire and Love Stories by Davids on Instagram and TikTok. If you enjoyed these stories, check out my book, Finally the Bride by Jen Glantz on Amazon. And remember, sometimes the best advice comes from strangers we meet along the way. Until next time, this is your professional bridesmaid signing off.